Hello everyone and welcome to the Good Old Gamer. So I was out of town this weekend and as soon as I came back, I'm like, all right, let's check some of the headlines and see what's going on in the tech world. And lo and behold, we now have RTX 3090s selling for $5,000. And this is not a scalper price. This is actually a price set by an AIB. I went, what? When I went on vacation last week on Friday, Tim from Hardware Unboxed, he did a video basically showing that prices are starting to come down, and everywhere on YouTube you see people talking about, hey, prices are going to start getting better, because they are slowly but surely. However, when AIBs just go, nah, we don't want any of that going on, we're just going to set ridiculous prices that we've never seen before. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about here today. I've been saying for years, ever since I started the channel back in 2016, that if the PC gaming community, that's us, allowed prices to continue to creep up, these companies are just going to continue pushing the envelope. And this seems to be the biggest push that I've seen thus far. So that's why I want to talk about it. And AMD is no angel here. There's some news about the AMD 6900 XT liquid cool coming in at a ridiculous price, and we're going to be talking about that as well. But before we get into it, this video is sponsored basically by you guys. If you guys like content like this, make sure you smash the like button, please share, and subscribe to the channel. You guys are the backbone of the channel, and I really thank you all for your support. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so jumping on over here to video cards, colorful launches, the limited edition RTX 3090 KUDAN graphics cards, or KUDAN, whatever you want to call it. So that in and of itself isn't that big of a deal. It's basically their flagship GPU. You know, it looks kind of cool. They definitely put some money into it. So this would be like the MSI Lightning, which usually comes in 25-ish% higher than the MSRP. But scrolling all the way on down here, the limited edition colorful iGame whatever 3090 is coming in at $5,000 and limited to only 1,000 units. Now, just to put that in perspective, let's take a look at the Titan V, which came out just a few years ago. This was not a gaming card. This is the GV100. This was basically a chip that NVIDIA made for their HPC clients and decided to give customers or prosumers an option to get one. You could tell it's not for regular customers because it has HBM2. So this is something that NVIDIA has never given gamers ever. And this card came in at a whopping $3,000. That means this new 3090 gaming card is actually far more expensive than the Titan V. This is how insane things have gotten in just the past few years. This is what, 3.5 years ago, December 7th, 2017? So we're not talking about like 10 years ago. We're talking about just like a generation or two ago. Now, I get it. There's a market out there for these crazy expensive things. I'm actually okay with that, but typically these top tier, top performing, top bin chips, like I said, usually would come in at 25, maybe up to 33% above MSRP. You know, they put a lot more cooling on there, a lot more power phases, just basically build it to maximum capacity. Now, coming in at $5,000, however, we're talking about more than triple the MSRP of the RTX 3090. I know there's a lot of people out there like, MSRP's made up. No, MSRP is the baseline. That's what the thing should cost, and then all your premium stuff should be tacked on top. So had the card come out at $2,000-ish, that would have been fine, and that would have been a 33% price increase. But nobody would have really batted an eye at that at this point in time. $5,000, this is colorful, just trying to see how far people have gone insane when it comes to graphics cards and how much money people are really willing to spend. I've mentioned on the podcast before, there were people that bought the Titan V for gaming because it was technically faster than the Titan X Pascal or Titan XP or whatever, or the 1080 Ti, which were the top gaming GPUs at the time. So there were people that went out there and bought Volta just for gaming. And if you don't think that's a thing, those are the people that might actually buy this. But this is significantly more expensive. And I'm wondering if they're like, well, if we can get $5,000 for this one, maybe we'll shoot for 6 or 7 next time, and then 8 or 9. To me, this is definitively proof that the race to $10,000 gaming GPUs is a real thing. And the AIBs, whether NVIDIA's going for it or not, the AIBs are certainly shooting for it. So people thought I was nuts when I was saying, yeah, soon there's going to be $2,000 to $3,000 graphics cards, gaming graphics cards, and that's what they're going to be. We're already there. So the next step is to get the $5,000 mark and then the $10,000 mark. Now I can hear a lot of you guys now, this is NVIDIA, they're just pushing. It's not just an NVIDIA thing. AMD are no angels. Let's see what's going on with AMD. All right, so you guys remember the 6900 XT liquid cool that I did a video on last week, and you're all like, well, it's for system integrators only. Well, now they're available in India with no system purchase, so you can just buy them for $3,000. I actually thought that they'd be about $2,000. It could just be because it's India, and unfortunately, in other parts of the world, AMD and NVIDIA like to just turn the screws and get more money out of people. But at all three stores where you can buy one of these things, the price appears to be the same at 223,000 rubles, which comes out to being just over 3,000 USD. And yeah, so AMD's kind of doing the same thing. Their top bin, top performance, top chip, they're trying to push the envelope as well. Whether this is AMD pricing or just, the resellers, there are people out there pushing the absolute maximum envelope on this. Obviously, they say MSRP is OEM only, but we know that even if you want to upgrade from OEMs, it's $2,000 plus. So $3,000 for just straight up might actually be the real price for these. Now, the really interesting thing is actually the comment sections of these articles. You'll see some people, they're like, hey, it looks like PC gaming's dying. I can't afford this, $5,000 GPUs. I don't blame you. I don't know too many people out there. I couldn't afford one of these, not comfortably anyway. That's just beyond the average person, and even decently well-off people, they're just not going to be able to afford these. These are products for the uber rich at this point in time. And this is fine. I've said this in the past. I'm fine with them having a crazy priced Halo product as long as you can get like 95 to 90% of the performance at a reasonable price point. But all these companies are targeting these crazy high price points because there's so many people paying them. The only world GPUs like these seem to make sense, and prices up to the $5,000 to $10,000 mark makes sense, is if at every price point you get that 20 to 30% performance bump. So if we had a $200 graphics card that's 20% faster than last year's, I wouldn't care about these cards. The problem there is these companies, to justify these high prices, would need like a 300 or 400% increase in performance on their top tier chips. This may be possible with the upcoming MCM GPUs, but for right now, we're not getting 2 to 3 times faster than last generation's top flagship card. You're getting only 40% more performance, and you're paying, 3.5 times the price point for these things now? Come on, guys. That is not enough performance there. What's really going on is the lower tiers are not getting any faster. They're basically remaining stagnant. If you look at entry-level cards, there are 0. The AIBs out there, or system integrators, are still getting like GTX 1650s, and that seems to be the entry-level GPU. It's last generation's GPU. There is no new entry-level GPU now. Mainstream gamers have the 3060, which is basically just a 2060. You pay more money, you get a little bit faster. So there's nothing good there about that one. And that's it. That's the only card that I would say is kind of in a mainstream price bracket. So yeah, there's really no option for the mainstream gamer out there. And like I said, what's really troubling is the comment section. There's a lot of people like, well, PC gaming, it's an elitist sort of thing. It's always been expensive. No, it hasn't. The most popular PC games run on basic hardware. Your Fortnites, your Call of Duty Warzones, your Dotas, your CSGOs. Those type of games don't really require major hardware. You don't need RTX 3090s to play the most popular PC games. And to pretend that PC gaming is like some sort of elite sort of thing, it's not, guys. What used to be considered the way to go was a $200 CPU and a $400 GPU, and you were good to go. Or a $100 CPU and a $200 GPU, and you were still good to go. That's how things used to be. And if you spent any more money than that, you were kind of out to lunch because there was no real benefit to spending more money than that. Granted, due to the whole world changing, inflation's a real thing. So prices are going to go up, but we're looking at 3, 4, 5 times the pricing here, guys. That is a little absurd. Realistically, maybe a 10% or 20% bump across the board. I might be able to swallow that because, governments of the world are just doing stupid things right now. I might be able to come around on that argument, but we're not getting performance bumps. We're not getting anything. And for those people out there that think PC gaming is some sort of magical holy unicorn or something, it's not. You're just getting ripped off and you're just justifying paying for it. And telling other people that maybe they should switch to console or maybe they should do this or that isn't a real option. If you have 200 or 300 or 2,000 or 3,000 PC games in your library, why would you want to switch to console and have to rebuy most of those? It's not like those games transfer over. So this is a real problem, and this is really starting to show that, PC gaming is a walled garden. We always like to say, well, PC gaming is open. It's really not, because if you want to move away from x86 PC gaming, you don't really have an option. Sure, you can go to console, but then you have to rebuy all your software, and that's a huge expense. Even at $10 or $20 a shot per game, you times that by 200 or 300, poof, you are just spending a fortune. So you're kind of boxed in, and it looks like these companies are really starting to take advantage of that. It's really sad to see that the only 2 companies, both of them are on board with this, and you really have no option. Really, the only thing that you can do is stop PC gaming. Stop buying new games, and whatever you can play with what you currently have on backwards, and just stick with what you have. That might be the only real option, is to just move away and just say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not investing in this anymore. Newer games really aren't that much fun. Yeah, they look prettier, but that's all they have over older games. So it might be time to just forget about graphics, forget about resolution, forget about frame rate. Just play what you can play at whatever you can play it at that feels acceptable to you. Hope FSR gets implemented so you can get higher performance if you want it, or higher resolutions. And just stick with your current library. And if you don't have 200-300 games, you can jump on Steam, and for $200 or $300, you can have 200 or 300 games. Games are pretty cheap, especially if you stick with what you can run on back. And like I said, if you go through all those games and play them all, you'll probably be 20 years into the future. Then you could buy something way cheaper at that point in time and then play the games that you missed out on. That's really the only option that I'm seeing right now, because if the AIBs, while prices are coming down on the secondhand market and AIBs are like, screw it, or even with the AMD liquid cool, AMD themselves are pushing prices up. I don't see an end to this anytime soon, guys. And soon we'll have $5,000 being normal for gaming level graphics cards, which used to be professional level, by the way. And then we will eventually get to that $10,000 mark. And I just don't see the performance scaling high enough to justify that. Like I said, if at every price tier you got 20 to 30% performance uplift every generation, I wouldn't really care. So yeah, if AMD and NVIDIA can do 200 or 300% performance increase gen over gen, yeah, they can make new higher tiers and then just give everybody that 20 to 30% that they're used to. And then you could pick what you want. But we're not seeing that. That does not seem to be the case. So the only real option that we have now is stick with what you have, buy old tech on the secondhand market at reasonable prices, play the games that tech can run, and basically ignore all new stuff. Unless Intel comes in here and completely disrupts the market, which would be really nice, but there's no guarantee that that will happen. So to me, guys, this may be the final nail in the coffin of PC gaming, in my opinion. If this really does jack everything up and these GPUs are sold out and these companies find out that people will spend $5,000 on a $1,500 graphics card, it's going to be pretty much game over, boys. Because we're just never going to see reasonable value ever again, which means I'll never be able to recommend a product to you ever again. So I might have to come up with alternate solutions for you guys, or just say, hey, look, you can buy RX 570s for $80. It'll play all 8th gen games. Yeah, you might have to do 1080p or 900p, but it'll run them, and for $80, that'd be the way to go. But who knows if those will ever come back down to $80. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see how this all shakes out, but this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And if you're like one of those crazy PC hardware enthusiasts, you might want to temper your expectations, because no matter how much money you have, you might be priced out of this market. If you think, oh yeah, I can afford $2,000 for a top-end GPU, that's not going to be top-end anymore. That'll soon be like entry-level or mainstream if prices continue to go up at the pace that they're going. And are you going to be spending $2,000, $3,000 on entry-level GPUs? If you're okay with that, more power to you. But everybody else out there, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you about ready to say, I'm done, I'm just going to keep, my RX 580 or GTX 1060, play the games that'll play, and then just walk away from it, go find another hobby at this point? If you need to play new AAA games, are you considering moving over to console? Have you already moved over to console? Maybe that's what the best option would be, is for newer games, just play them on console because you haven't bought them yet. So, there's no loss there in investment. You don't get the added benefit of higher frame rate and higher resolution on your older games, which you used to get on PC. But with no option for mainstream gamers and definitely no option for entry-level gamers at this point in time, I have no good solution for you except stop supporting these companies. Stop paying these prices. If you know anybody who's looking at buying any of these things, tell them to go buy an Xbox. Stop giving these people money is the only answer I have for you, because the more money these people make, the more money they're going to charge you. And at the end of the day, like I said, soon you'll have $10,000, RTX 5090s, which will be maybe twice as fast as the 3090 that you have right now. That's not good value there, guys. But it's coming. I mentioned it a few years ago. Here we are. That's what's coming. Be prepared for it. If you want to jump ship, now's the time. But once again, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you like videos like this, please smash that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. Share this one around. Most PC gamers really need to hear this. This is the hard truth of the situation, that it's no longer going to be something for everybody, and spending $3,000 or $4,000 to play Fortnite is stupid. And they need to understand that. And if that's where things are going, maybe alternate options are the way to look into. So thank you so much. That's really all I have for you guys here today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.